What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sando here, bringing you another video. I got some New World gameplay in the background, and we're gonna go over New World thoughts, thoughts versus Elder Scrolls Online. The previous game I put a lot of time in. Right now, currently in New World, I have put over 200 hours into the game. I am level 58 right now. Basically level 59. I'm like right there, just 59, and been doing a lot of in-game content. Dungeons, crafting. Been in 2 wars now and 2 invasions. I've been enjoying my time here. It's been refreshing to see a complete package of a game. Everything is not fully fleshed out, but the groundwork for this game is here. The environments for the game is here. I think that's where a lot of the game really shines, is where you are in the game. The combat feels good once you get used to it because every motion matters. If you are just spamming anything, you will die. If you are not being very aware of where your positioning is at, you will die. If you are not countering the other player that you're fighting, you will die. And I love that. There's a little bit of a cheese in the game currently, is that healing is a bit too strong. Anybody with a so-called cleric or paladin build is really enjoying themselves right now. But other than that, the game is really good at this point. Some things I wanted to go over here is I hear a lot of people comparing this game to Elder Scrolls Online, and they should. After playing the game, and more so, there's a zone in the game called Great Cleave. It's a very snowy zone, and it makes you feel like this is what Elder Scroll. If Skyrim Online was to be a Skyrim multiplayer, this is what this would be. This is what it would end up in. As far as the crafting, the world, a little bit of the combat. I think the combat is an improvement. Once you get your mind wrapped around it, I think that's the biggest thing. Countering people and getting all your rotations set up to where they're most effective, that is when the game starts to shine. I can definitely say now, if you're below level 30, you will have a very different experience from once you pass that, I want to say 30-35 threshold. The main thing I see here from Elder Scrolls Online as far as the comparisons go is that the game has a lot of PvP aspects of it. And I think that's why the game is really getting a lot of buzz. You have other MMOs that are trying to do a little bit of PvP that are kind of failing. You have some games that, like Final Fantasy Online, that are really story based, and that's what people are drawn to on that. As far as the PvP aspect, there's not too many options. For years now, being an Elder Scrolls Online player, it would get frustrating to the point where I would get frustrated at the game and constantly look for something else that offered at least a little bit of what that game offered. I've tried a lot of things, and nothing really gets that and wraps it up in a good package to present to you. I think this game does that well. I think the fact that I can be out gathering and just exploring, and then I see somebody from a distance, and then we initiate a fight, it is one of those more so organic points that I love about an MMO with open world PvP. There is a little bit of issue here nowadays with people not being flagged up, but as I've progressed through the levels and more level 60s have hit my server, that has changed dramatically. Also too, knowing where to find PvP has been a big learning point. As people get higher up, pushing the zones and taking territory becomes the number one thing because it makes the game overall easier for that faction that controls it. So watching who's trying to push the zone, if you see a lot of activity in that zone, people running PvP missions, then you can go there and fight. If you see that the fort is getting attacked, you can go to the fort and fight. There's places to find PvP, and then there's that organic PvP that just happens in the world. A lot of that is due to the way that the game is set up and right now the game does feel large. The game feels pretty big. It feels pretty vast. Exploring in the game, like I said, I can't say this enough, it feels good. It feels like the content is challenging. Even some a level 60 friend of mine, if you go to an area, you can get overrun because it's not just spamming abilities. Every point in the combat, as far as fighting enemies of your level, feels engaging. Going over some other points of the game here, the game does have a little bit of lag when there are too many people on screen. This is just a limitation, I think, of the overall gaming industry. Runs through the same thing. Whenever there's too many people on screen, too much stuff happening, the game is going to lag. On my PC, I really only see that lag during a war. That's when it mainly occurs. But open world PvP, I don't have a single hiccup. I mean, it runs really, really good. And I don't have everything set on max. I have it set on medium, but everything still looks pretty good. Going over why I left Elder Scrolls Online for New World. It's the fact that at prime time I can log on and play the game. The game works. It's there. It has PvP. It has crafting. I feel like I'm progressing with my character. I feel like the content I'm doing, no matter what I'm doing, is engaging and it's challenging me, and I'm learning and I'm improving. I feel like everything I do in order to improve my character state is pushing me to become better. And I love that. There are not any, there are some item sets that modify skills. This battle right here is actually a good one here. You'll see I have the contagious restab on for the reverse stab. They're going to put bleeds on me, and I'm literally just going to transfer them over there to that character. That's actually a really good segue into that. But and he's going to get the bleed transferred on him. You'll see it coming up now. So there we go, and put the bleed over him. That was just too much damage for him. But yeah, the skill modification sets are pretty balanced. I mean, you're not going to really see any two outliers, just a little bit of percent, or adds an additional modifier to, but that's about it. But the game is really engaging and fun, and I really appreciate where they brought the game from a PvP only survival sandbox to a full-blown MMO. It's impressive in everything, and just getting into the point of what's I thought was the most impressive thing was they added dungeons in the late game, in the late development, and the dungeons are great. The dungeons are engaging. They have mechanics. They can be really tough because your positioning and attacking has to be on point in order to complete them. I think that is a really good point as far as going back to Elder Scrolls Online. The PvE can get repetitive. It's not really too engaging for me anyway, but I didn't really do too much PvE in Elder Scrolls Online because it was just simply boring. In this game here, the viability of a lot of items, there's no class, it's just what items you use. A lot of things are viable. I think only matching weapons, and I mean that's only a certain point, matching weapons with different modifiers like a strength weapon and a dexterity weapon is kind of hard to do in PvE because you want to have the most damage you can. Right now I've been loving sword and board and anything else really. Play sword and board and bow, sword and board and spear. Currently now my final setup of that is sword and board and great axe, and that's mainly going to bring us into the next issue with PvP is people run. There is a counter to the running, which is sword and board, but which is great axe, because great axe is literally a weapon that's mainly for chasing people down and holding people in place. That's all that weapon is really meant to do. So I've been using great axe, and it's been working out pretty well. So sword and board and great axe is probably gonna be the final build here for open world. It doesn't give me any range, which I really don't like, but people getting away is a thing of the past, and that was the most annoying thing for the whole game overall, is that you be fighting somebody, and they're just gonna run away, and there's nothing you can really do about it. They can just keep running until they get to the town, and it's over. But that's a mixture of the flaws of the game and what Elder Scrolls Online was supposed to be and what it's really turning into. And I think they have a lot of competition on their hands, and I think that the people that have moved over, they're not going back, because it's hard to go back to something that you put so much time in and put so much hope into and never really achieve that. It's more of I would say it's more related to like a breakup phase. You're just completely angry and you're just super excited to move on to something else different. And once you've experienced that difference, it's hard to go back. As far as my thoughts on it, I think that if you like PvP in any way, and if you like RuneScape, this game really reminds me of a 3D RuneScape, and it has PvP in it as well. If that's something you were looking for and to turn off from RuneScape was the graphics and how it looked, this game is gonna amaze you every day. As far as somebody though that wants to play something more casual and does not want to be forced to kind of sweat to get certain items and be in that top 10% or at least to attempt to be, then this game is kind of not for you a little bit. I've heard some people that are trying to just play it solo, and yeah, you can play it solo, you can go around crafting, you can play the market, but if you want to do something a little bit more than that, this game is not gonna appeal to you as much. I think that in the long term, what they will add to the game will do nothing but improve it. If they add new weapons, they add new zones, their zone design team is really on point, as well as the sound effect design team. The sound effects in this game are insane, next level. It's the little minute details that just make you feel immersed. The immersion levels of this game is 110%. But as someone that wants what ESO does very well, and that's basically take care of the casual scene, where if you want to just log in, if you only have a couple hours of playing, you just log in and don't want to be too far behind or know a static routine that will basically help you get ahead, then yeah, people have been max level in ESO for years. You can just get max level and then you can log in once every month and still be able to play and have fun. It's as far as a casual for PvE, but for the PvP side of it, there's new broken sets changing every patch. I mean, it's not really in that same aspect. But if you do want a PvP, and if you do like a complete feeling game, I believe that New World will definitely satisfy that for you. I have been nothing but impressed my whole time playing the game. I did say that a big influence in my experience in the game, though, is that I did join a company. Well, the company that I was with, we actually chose this server and came to the server specifically. As far as the map rotation, it is pretty balanced. A couple other good guilds came over to this server as well, so it's not a complete rollover domination. And it's really good because from the company and the guild, I actually have people that I can pull from to do content with, and I think that's a big part of it, is having that having that available to you. If you are trying to just play this game solo, there are a lot of group-oriented things that will hinder you from progressing forward in the story, or having to rely on the pugs of the game, which doesn't always go good, and that's in any game. But I think definitely if you were looking for something that did have PvP, if you were watching New World, I think New World does not transfer over into watching very good as far as the weight of the game. It does a little bit. As soon as you've played it, you kind of know what's going on, but just watching the game, it does not look appealing to someone that hasn't tried it. I would say that's the biggest thing, but once you do try it, it is a ton of fun. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up at this point here. As far as the final thoughts, I think New World is just more of a complete game, and I think Elder Scrolls Online is going to fall back on the PvE side of it and housing side of it and crown source side of it in order to survive. But once something else comes out that does that in more detail, better than them, it's gonna be a rough time. But as far as my current rotation of games, I can't justify putting ESO in that rotation. It's just not feasible. But for me, I'm out. That was my thoughts on that versus ESO. New thoughts on New World after getting pretty close to end game. You guys take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.